you know, Pippa Middleton, when she launched her column for one of the magazines, and she was talking about, you know, hosting parties and cooking and things like that, and she was mocked and ridiculed for it just being so obvious, you know, stating the bleeding obvious with it. There's a bit of that. I wonder as well, I mean, you also see some parallels with the Princess of Wales here, with the jam making and the beekeeping, which is something that she does and the King does and David Beckham does. Everybody's doing it. She talks about the great outdoors and how important it is getting children in the great outdoors. There are a lot of synergies there, although we know that they couldn't actually be further apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just thinking, you know, with these very simple recipes, is it really worth Netflix's 100 million that they've ploughed into this? I mean, that's a lot of money to pay for a simple pasta recipe and a honey making session from Meghan Markle. So I am also thinking about the Netflix executives and if they're going to renew another season of this, and also if they're banking on this as ever store to get a little bit of their money back that they've invested, because none of the other projects have worked out. Polo hasn't been renewed for a second season.
I mean, obviously Harry and Meghan, the initial documentary series was a massive hit for them.
Yeah.
But the others, you're right, just haven't. I mean, Polo, they barely even bothered to promote it.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they?
No, that's completely correct. So in terms of the commercial success of this and Netflix, I think it's hanging on by a thread, personally, if this launch doesn't go well. And I know we were all checking the website beforehand and it apparently has crashed. So I'm not sure, is that maybe a great success because a lot of people went to it, or is it not? I mean, you know, too early to tell.
Can we get a sense, a fear from you, of Meghan and the person that she was before Harry from this? Because there are a few hints in there and a few nuggets about her childhood.
I was a latchkey kid. So I grew up with a lot of fast food and also a lot of TV tray dinners.
That gives us an insight into, I guess, the childhood that she had and how she kind of wanted to steer away from that. She never says it was bad in any way, but she just states that's how she grew up. And you can see
it couldn't be further away from what we now see on screen here.
From where she is now, that she is able to be more present, even though she is, you know, a working mum, and things are very different. And I think that's probably influenced her, you know, where she is now. And I think also if we talk about, you know, her life before Harry, like I have mentioned, you know, she had this lifestyle blog before, and she said, you know, in her the People magazine interview that she did that came out just before the show came out, that, you know, Harry can see sort of her creativity coming back. He has a glint in his eye when he sees that she's now doing things that she loved to do before, that sense of creativity is back. And that's, you know, that's great for her. And actually it's really interesting what you said about the synergy between perhaps her and the Princess of Wales. You know, they're both outdoorsy, both like making jam, both talk about the benefits of being outdoorsy with their children. But I guess that's all mums, isn't it? I'm sure you would talk about the same kind of things.
If you've got the time, I mean, if you've got the time, and that's the kind of thing about whether or not this is in touch, because the beautiful rainbow platter, okay, she tries to make a miniature version to make the children. I mean, you know, my children are lucky if there's a bowl of Weetabix on the table and, you know, the milk bottle.
Sprinkle dried flowers on the Weetabix.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't have dried flowers on your Weetabix, have you even had your Weetabix?
But then I don't want to. But the point I'm making, I guess, is that I don't want to watch a morning routine like my morning routine, because that's just stressful. That's not escapism for me. I want to see the beauty.
But this is the thing, is that the series, I think, is meant to be aspirational rather than inspirational. I mean, are you going to go home and make a massive board of fruit, Sarah?
Well, no. I'm not right now. But I did say, as I said, I might, you know, I might make a candle at some point. I don't know, but I've got to find my local beekeeper. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure where you find that in South London.
The trouble is that what she did with that fruit platter, and I think this is sort of emblematic of the whole thing, is that it was the equivalent of opening up one of those tins of fruit that you get from Del Monte and sort of arranging it nicely. Yeah. All she did was get pineapple chunks and grapes and things and just sort of arrange them and then get those blooming flowers and scatter it on there. And you kind of go, oh, give it a break, Meghan. Just do something different and genuinely inventive, but a pot of pasta with tomatoes and
I learnt one hack, though.
What was that?
You might have known this already, it might be really obvious. If you put sparkling water in your scrambled egg, it makes them really fluffy. I didn't know that before.
I'd heard that one.
Yeah, but on the subject of water, I mean, we were just talking about the ice cubes.
The ice cubes, yeah.
For some reason, it's grating on me how she told me that I shouldn't be using tap water for my ice cubes. I should be using distilled water.
But actually, I knew that as well. I'd seen that on social media, like last year. If you boil your water and you put it in your ice cube tray, then it's clear. I knew that.
Yeah, I'll make sure to do that when I'm hastily making my cocktail at the end of the day, because I'm just like, oh God, I was waiting for this.
Kinsey, I'm sure, has had to have a couple of cocktails to stay awake, to stay with us. But Kinsey, I just want your thoughts on what constitutes success for Meghan and Netflix on this, because it's a really crowded space. So is it about being a ratings winner? Is it about that kind of image rehabilitation? Is it about the merchandising? What will count as success here?
I think Meghan's ultimate objective is to change public perception, because if Meghan fails on this show, that's a public failure, that's a professional failure, and if it's a win, she will attract more opportunities. So she really, really wants this to work, not only in hopes that she can continue her relationship with Netflix. And I should stress that Netflix does say there is one more project on the horizon, a scripted Meet Me at the Lake, a scripted film that Meghan and Prince Harry are expected to produce. But I think that she wants this to be an analytical win. I think she wants us to log on to Netflix and see her in the top 10 because this will attract other opportunities for her. It will attract brands that are interested in working with as ever. It will attract Meghan being a guest on other people's lifestyle shows that are similar. But I do think that her ultimate objective is to change the public perception because, the media has said over the last at least 4 years that she was a bully, most recently in January in Vanity Fair. And that's definitely not the person you see when she's telling us, when I have friends come over, from the moment they wake up to the time they go to bed, I want them to know that I'm thinking about them. I'm making them bath salts. She's trying to say, I'm not a dictator in heels. I'm sweet. I'm fun. I'm kind. And I think that is what she wants ultimately to change the public opinion of her.
Yeah, and she has always, of course, vociferously denied those bullying allegations. And I guess this is kind of, as you say, Kinsey, her retort to that played out on screen. Rod, from a TV perspective for Netflix, where does this stand in their deal? Does it mean we're going to get more? The chat from Netflix seems to be this isn't the end.
Oh, I would be very surprised if this didn't get a second series. I really do. And actually, perhaps for what Netflix wanted it to do, I think it will be a huge success. I mean, we're sitting here talking about it.
Yeah.
And any show that gets people talking, whether you're deriding it or loving it, that's what Netflix want. They court controversy. I'm not saying that this is particularly controversial, but it does get people talking. And for them, that's a hit.